Hello everybody and welcome to this very special Ed Dale Live. It's a lot of people are tuning in today because we've got extraordinary announcements with WWDC, and we are going to be talking Newsstand Carnage. Yes, boy, did I get a few emails after the WWDC. There was too many W's there, but hey, I got a lot of email about what this means and what this means for magcasters and what does this mean for digital publishing. Is it all doomed? Doomed, they say. Spoiler alert, no, I think this is a wonderful opportunity and we will be discussing all of those opportunities today. I also had the pleasure during the week of interviewing Tahi Moore, and we are going to play that interview after we discuss the newsstand, and we're going to do we're going to be talking about some things that I think are really pertinent to all content producers and all digital publishers, because to me, and we'll talk about this a lot in the newsstand section, the cost of delivery of information, the cost of anything, this is economics 101. The cost of anything effectively goes to the cost of production. Now, when the cost of production and delivery is effectively zero, like this content here, doesn't mean the value isn't awesome, but hey, the content here is effectively what people will be prepared to pay. And we've seen the app economy absolutely drive all of this. So we've got the app economy, we've got all the other issues with that, we've got, what else? We've got all of these factors, and then we've got what is going on with Newsstand Carnage. And so that will be a lot of fun to talk about, and we're going to go in depth going through that. Let me just take a moment here to make sure that we've got everybody up and running. Yes, we're looking good. The health is good. Love that when Google tells me the health is good. That is fantastical. All right, we are cooking with gas. So let's get to the topic du jour. Newsstand Carnage. So first of all, what I want to do is just explain what we know now. So let's go through that, and then I'll talk about the strategies, the implications, and the opportunities that we have because of this change. So let's do that. So first of all, let me just bring up my trusty phone here so you guys can see what the current situation is. So let's have a look here where let's bring that up here like this, do this, turn on that like so, super smooth. There we have our iPhone. I'm just going to switch to the iPhone screen here so you can see it. There we are. And pop it over for you guys. Okay, you're all familiar with this. This is an iPhone home screen. Now, this is my particular iPhone home screen. Never leave your iPhone unattended. That's the first lesson. And 2, check your desktop picture before you start streaming live. So 2 valuable life lessons already today in Ed Dale Live. But we want to talk newsstand. Now, if you have a look here, you might notice that the newsstand is not on this phone. This is an iOS 8 phone, and there's no newsstand here. What is going on? Well, me, like most people, and remember, I ran the company which created the largest number of independent newsstand publishers on the planet with Magcast. And even I have not got the Newsstand app on my screen because I tend to search for these apps. But because, here's the thing though, check this out. If I want to try find Newsstand, right, see what's happening here as I'm searching? It doesn't come up. There's no way to find Newsstand by search. And given the 297 apps, yes, you heard that right, 297 apps I have on my phone, it's my job, okay? Don't judge. But given that that's the case, so let's try find in these beautifully organised. Now, stop me when you can find the Newsstand app. Well, spoiler alert, it is on this page, just above Annabelle's forehead there, to be exact. So let's have a look here. So we've got the Newsstand app, and if you can see it, it's actually on the second row on the left of your screen. So the icon has always sucked. But there it is, and there is the Newsstand. So you can see we've got a bunch of issues here, and they reflect the front covers. These are all the current front covers of all these particular issues. And if I go into, say, Best Self magazine here, you can see the magazine issue, and you can load those up. And I'm not sure if I've got a copy. Yeah, I do. So copy the issue and off we go to the races. So you can see that. That's Newsstand as it existed. And as it exists as we speak today for everybody. However, taking one for the team, I put my trusty iPad Air 2 and converted it on your behalf to the very original beta of the iOS 9 experience, where all these changes will happen. And this is what you will see when you do so. Now, let me just actually clarify that. That's what we're seeing currently. This could be well and truly subject to change. But look what's happened. Newsstand, and I've done you the courtesy of zooming in, has become an ordinary folder. And you can see there that the icons are in that folder, just like if you see my reading folder next to that. So it's just become a normal old folder. So if we go into and tap into that folder, you'll see that each of the apps is just the app icon. Now, it's funny because you never saw the app icon, because if you recall, we had front covers beforehand. So the front covers are gone. Now, it also means, if you had an app that you loved and you had a magazine that you loved and you tried to drag it out of Newsstand, guess what? You couldn't. So now, if we have a look at that right in the middle there, Digital Publisher can actually sit out by itself. So to me, this is an extraordinarily positive change. The facts are that most people had dragged their Newsstand app out of their home screen anyway because they didn't find it, and discoverability, particularly because if you recall in the old days before iOS 7, the little covers changed in the little icon, so in the Newsstand icon, but they don't change anymore. You can't even see it, and it's buried. So there's no way to indicate that there's any changes to the content on your app. And if they really love your app, they'll probably want to put it on the home screen if it's an area they're passionate about. So the first thing that's very important to put across here is it's my view that this is an incredibly positive change for publishers. You might notice there that I get rid of most notifications, but you can notice there on the communications folder, which is just above Digital Publisher, that it's got a little push notification badge there letting me know that there's new stuff. Well, guess what? You'll be able to do that with your magazine as well. So, yes, the Newsstand icon has gone. The Newsstand folder, well, it wasn't a folder, but the Newsstand gap has gone, and a folder will be in its place. So to me, and that means that your app can exist everywhere. So what else are problems? Well, what about traffic, I hear you saying? Well, for the last month or so, we've had the privilege, thanks Apple, of actually understanding where all our traffic comes for all apps, not let alone Newsstand apps. And this has been a fascinating exercise. And here's the deal. Nobody searched for your magazine via the Newsstand. Virtually nobody clicked the store button in the actual Newsstand. They just did like everybody else, and they searched the App Store. And I'm sure if you look at your stats, and all the magcasters that have let me have a look at their stats to confirm this, play this out. Nobody Nobody was using it. Newsstand was irrelevant. So from a Magcaster perspective, from a digital publisher perspective, as we talk today, to me, the changes are awesome. But, as they say in the classics, there was way more. Something else was announced, and this has confused a lot of people. So let's go through it. And if I switch over here like so, and switch this here, and then tap this, News, a new app was announced, and it's called News. And it looks very beautiful. It looks incredibly, sort of in the style and the feel of Flipboard, which, as many of you know, is an app that I've loved from the very first day it was released. I called it the first killer app of the iPad. It really showed how you could, you could get this news and you could get it collated and you could virtually have your own private magazine. Brilliant. So Apple have created this new app called News. And if we scroll up here, you can make it look really beautiful. You can have the articles looking great. You can have, as they say here, engaging stories, rich with photo galleries, videos, and animation. Now, you can't do that right now as sits with the beta. It's just taking RSS feeds like everybody else does. But that's the future. That's what they're hoping. And I assume by the time we get to the fall, which is when all this is released, will be... you will be able to do that using a new format. You can see they've got leading news sources, and this is, again, something that people are very, very concerned about because typically Apple is not in it for the little guy. As much as I love and adore Apple and I think it's a magnificent company, at the end of the day, when it came to individual content producers, Steve Jobs famously called podcasters amateurs. They really have a bias towards promoting big publishing companies, we see this in the newsstand. It's very rare to see an independent Magcaster promoted or featured because they are doing their best to promote the big brands. Apple has a big brand bias. There's no question about it. But let's hold that thought for a minute because when we talk implications in just a few minutes, I want to come back to that because I think this is fascinating. Now, check this out, and this is a change in languaging for Apple, and if you follow them as intensely and closely as I do, you may miss this, but I did not. Listen to this. Explore over 1 million topics from sources including top news organisations and indie publications. They're not being called amateurs anymore, we're being called indie. I love that, and the thing is, you will be able to sign up your blog, or your Magcast, we'll talk about that in a minute, to be able to provide news into this new app. And there's a reason that you're really going to want to do that. And this is where the strategy, and I hope if you're listening to this and you are not a digital publisher or not a Magcaster, but you have a blog or you have an online business, I imagine that should be who you are, you should stay and listen very intently when I talk about this strategy because it's going to blow your mind. Okay, so you need to stay with me as well because this is crucial. Again, everybody's missed this, but not me because that's my job. So we've got stories you care about, you can choose your topics, and all of this is really, really good. Now, before we go to our news format for publishers, where they're doing that, and you can see here, by the way, this is on the iOS 9. So if you do a search for Apple iOS 9, you can go to this exact page, and you can click the Learn More button, and you can download and have a look at all of what's available there for News Publisher. Now, what are the other issues here? I see news as a really interesting thing. And the first thing we've got to ask ourselves, the very first thing we need to look at here is what is the job to be done? What is the job to be done here? My favorite question. Okay, let's put up my Newsstand Carnage graphic here because gosh, I worked so hard on it. Newsstand Carnage. What's the job to be done here? What's Apple trying to do? Now, if you're a developer or you're a publisher, you're a niche marketer or a niche styler, you're a challenger, you're a thing, Apple doesn't care about you. Sorry, they don't. You are way at the bottom of the Apple care cycle. At the top of the Apple care cycle is Apple. Right underneath that is their customers, Joe and Jane Smith, the people who buy the iPhones, buy the Macs, buy the iPads, listen to iTunes. That is who they care about. That is their fundamental focus, because they know, guess what? If they do an amazing job, as they have since 1997, they are now the biggest company in the world. That's not an accident. The only way they became the biggest company in the world is by providing products that consumers, normal people, the normals, the civilians, love. Okay, and as a byproduct of that, developers, magcasters, digital publishers, niche providers have benefited from that. $30 billion, and if you're playing along at home and following Apple as closely as I am, that's doubled in the last year alone. $30 billion have been paid out to app developers as a consequence of us providing great experiences for the people that Apple care about, Joe and Jane Smith. Okay, stay with me. What is the biggest problem with digital content here as far as Joe and Jane Smith are concerned? Let's think about it. Where do we get our news? Where do we get our content? Well, if you're like most people, you get it from Facebook, right? Who watches news anymore? How many of you watch news? How many of you listen to news on the radio? Right? It's not a core way of accessing news, accessing information. But we're all interested in news. We all want information. We want stuff on our products. And, typically Facebook is the way to access this stuff. So let's just bring up let's do a demonstration. We're live here. Let's demonstrate. So if I bring up my iPhone here again, there we are. And I just go back to my home screen. Now, one of the things as a newsstand publisher and a digital publisher, they solve this particular problem. But let's be Joe and Jane Smith for a second. They go to their Facebook icon, right? And they go to their Facebook, and this is where they get news and sweet videos of crows. And suggested videos here of Australia Post. Here, this is exactly what I wanted to find. So here we are. Okay, we've got a Guardian. Wind farms may have potential health impacts. What a load of shit. But hey, I can get angry at that, and I'm going to look at this just to see what a load of rubbish that is. Now, notice I've just done one click on this. I haven't gone to the news article yet. I still haven't seen the damn news article that I'm actually outraged by and I want to read. So I have to tap again. Count. 1, 2, 3. Not bad. 4 seconds. Okay. As a content publisher, in fact, I can't leave that article up there because it's so much bullshit that I just can't stand it. Yeah, exactly. Look at that coal power station, dickhead. Anyway, sorry, you're not here for my politics. You are here for what's going on with Newsstand and Newsstand Publishing. So, did you see how long that took? Now, as we're not civilians, right? We are not normal. We are not the normal type of people that access information on the internet. So you and I have this understanding that think about all the technology that had to happen for that content to display in just 4 seconds. And you think about, okay, well, they're doing a pretty darn good job here because, that image probably had to be served from an image farm that Facebook have in Iceland. And so from Melbourne, Australia, it had to go through a internet connection, which is, by the way, sharing this live stream, go to Iceland, grab that image from the Facebook image farm. It had to grab content from the Guardian newspaper, and goodness knows where that server is, and deliver that. And in 4 seconds, as a normal, as a techno person, we get that, right? Got it. Joe and Jane Smith don't care. They want it now. They're used to picking up their TV remote, pressing one button, instant change, instant information. They're used to opening up a magazine and look, there's the article. Google's known this for the longest time, and it's actually Into the Plex, the great book by Steve Levy. And it's so funny, half the book is about the founders of Google just talking speed. And I didn't get it. I don't know, why are you so obsessed about delivery of speed of content? Well, they're a lot smarter than me. And they realised that consumers, Joe and Jane Smith, don't want to wait for anything. And there is a huge issue right now with mobile devices. And that is that your news, your information, you have to wait, because everything else on this device, every other experience on this device is instant. If I want to look in at Slack, I just tap Slack. If I want to look at my calendar, boom, calendar's up. It's there. Everything is instant. We're used to instant. Everything, I want to start this game, bang. Now, if you've been around your computer for a long, long time, we're used to delays. We're used to all of this stuff. We understand that there's extraordinary computing power all being brought to bear to deliver Candy Crush to you. Joe and Jane Smith don't care. They don't care. They want it now. They want that information now. So there is a really crucial job to be done here that everybody has failed at. Now, everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean Google, Facebook, and Apple. That's who we're talking about. Maybe throw Amazon in there as well. They know that this is a huge issue, and they each have their solutions. Google, for example, did a massive algorithm change to reward sites that loaded quickly and were formatted for mobile. That's what Google did. What did Facebook do? You might have heard of Facebook Instant Articles, which is their new initiative with publishers, selected hand-picked publishers like the New York Times. Stay on that thought for a little while. So that when I tap that Guardian icon with somebody who's an instant publisher, boom, up that content would come immediately, right? So that's this environment that we're dealing with. So news is Apple's solution to this, but that's not the best bit. That's not the big game in town. That's not the thing that nobody's talking about right now. Actually, it's not 100% true. Jason Calacanis had an incredibly insightful article, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. There was something else that was announced with iOS 9 as well. So that's news. So the job that news is trying to do, if it works, okay, and if it works as advertised, Apple will pre-populate this news article so that when people want to be able to get their information, get their news, boom, it's instantaneous. That's what they want here. And if they deliver that promise and they deliver incredible content directly to that, that could be revolutionary. That could grab a lot of eyeballs. They said in the WWDC keynote that over 50% of people use the default Notes app. As a wag in a podcast mentioned this morning, though, Compass is a default app, and how many people use the Compass app? Not many, I grant you. So it could go either way. Is this a Compass or is this a Notes? We don't know. But there's something else that they didn't talk about on the keynote because it was consumer facing. And let's bring this up here on the screen. And this is where we've got the news publisher here. As much as I love the Newsstand Carnage, let's get that out of the way. So we've got Apple News Format, which is coming soon. You can sign up for News Publisher and submit using an RSS feed. So if you have blog content, you should be signing up to this. I signed up eddale.co immediately because I want to use this. And you're asking, well, why would you want to do that, Ed? Why do I want to give Apple my content for no compensation? Well, interesting, because that's not what they're saying. Advertising opportunities, right? We've got our advertising opportunities, and let's pass this very carefully because this is really, really, really important. Monetization is made simple with iAds, Apple's advertising platform that most of you probably haven't even used or heard of because it's been a dud. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. iAd provides campaign management, targeting, and reporting capabilities that drive your business, and it does. It's a great platform. It's awesome. Nobody uses it. Now, get this. Earn 100% of the revenue from ads you sell. Keep that in the front and center of your mind. 70% when iAds sells ads for you. So they will place advertising if you allow them. It's permission-based, and they will give you 70% cut. So all of a sudden there is a slight business model. Now, most traditional publishers will be looking at that and going, oh goody, we can get some advertising, or we can sell our own advertising for the large publishers. That's going to be very, very exciting for them. We're better than that. We're much smarter than that. We are digital publishers. We are magcasters. We have a way, 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 way bigger opportunity here. And that comes from this. Earn 100% of the revenue from the ads you sell. Why would I provide every single article as I'm about to advocate to you that's in my Newsstand publication, in my Magcast, to the Apple News format? Well, it's because of that sentence. Earn 100% of revenue from the ads you sell. Now, how much do you charge yourself when you sell an ad to yourself? I'm just interested. I'm being facetious, of course, because the answer is nothing. Zero. Zilch. So, here's the thing, and this is why I hope normal content publishers who don't have a Magcast, although they'll probably want a Magcast after I explain the mind-blowing thing that's about to happen. Most people haven't seen iAds because, as I said, it's a dud. But it's not a dud. It's an awesome platform, just nobody knows about it. So probably for the first time ever, I'm about to show you iAds. And they're not ads like you and I have ever seen. They're not dumb banner ads. They're not dumb Facebook ads. They are an extraordinary, interactive experience. And most importantly, you have the ability to put interactivity in these ads. You have the ability to drive traffic to a desktop. You have the ability to drive traffic to the desktop. You have the ability to drive traffic to your website. You can have a download. Are you following me here, Magcasters? You have the ability to download straight to the app. And these ads are effectively full screen ads. You tap the banner here to expand. Boom. You've got a whole video. You've got a whole interactive experience. These are ads like we haven't noticed before. Now, driving purchases. You can have full screen videos. Or more importantly, you can drive traffic, and if you're just a normal digital publisher, direct to your site. This is how cool this is, right? This is extraordinary stuff, and it's something that you should all be incredibly excited about. And I'll just come back to me here. So do you see where we're going with this? You are going to be able to drive people to opt-in pages. You are going to be able to drive people to your app download. Hello, Magcasters. Because how much are you charging yourself for your own iAd app? That's right. Zero. Nothing. Zilch. This is an amazing platform for people that have never used it because it just hasn't been implemented properly. So if you can have your articles delivered instantaneously to this, right? You with me? Articles instantaneously delivered to this. it has your advertising, which you place in this, which are incredible interactive ads, not dumb banner ads, but extraordinary selling opportunities where you can click on them and be taken to a website opt-in page, for example, or taken to download your Magcast instantaneously and then have all of your opt-ins, all of your subscription opportunities, all of those sorts of things. None of that goes away, by the way. I should point that out to Magcasters. We're not talking about the death of subscriptions. We're not talking, but are there subscriptions? Are Apple ever going to put subscriptions in news? I doubt it. Why? It completely defeats the business model. The big problem, right, with Magcast is that you have to download the information, you have to download the app, then you have to buy something. It's a poor, slow experience. That all goes. That's why I'm advocating to you that you will be wanting to put all of your content in this news thing, because I still haven't talked about the best bit. I still have not talked about the best bit and why Apple are genius. And when you see this, it's going to blow your mind. But right now, so let's think where we are as Magcasters. We can provide our content. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert. On the assumption that we can do this, Magcast will be delivering, as soon as we possibly can, the ability for you to be able to push a button to deliver this information to Apple. So you won't have to do anything else in your magazines. You'll be able to publish the information that you want to direct into this newsstand. Now, it may have ramifications for our text-based app, because maybe you want to go to the advanced version, and that's where there's a lot of value add. So that they are interesting implications down the track. But I just want you to know right now that the Magcasting platform will, as much as Apple will allow us to support this platform, and at the moment it works on RSS, so we'll provide an RSS feed for you out of your magazine. No biggie. So we'll absolutely be doing that for you. And as I say, that will obviously roll out over the coming few months as we start to get to grips with the platform, the formats, and everything that's been going on there. So you'll be able to use this news app, assuming it gets traction, right? Like I said, is it Notes or is it Compass? We don't know that. But I can see the problem that they're chasing. But here's the icing on the cake. Okay, here is the thing that everybody is missing and is such an extraordinarily clever play by Apple. And it's to do with search. Okay, one of the things you might not have realized that Apple announced yesterday was the ability, as long as your app allows it, and of course Magcast will be supporting this, is it allows on-device Siri and search to index your apps. You can search and provide information inside your apps, and that will be reflected on the iOS 9 search. This is huge. Why is this huge? Because here's the thing, and this is going to sound a little crass, but it's the facts. The people with money, the people who buy our stuff, have iPhones, and they search with their iPhone. And they typically, and more, are going to be using Siri. And already, if you actually accounted for all the searches that are going through Google at the moment, Apple is the second largest search engine. Not YouTube, Apple. Now, of course, it doesn't appear that way at the moment because, of course, most of the searches are going to Google because that's the way it is. But that's not going to be forever, because Apple brilliantly, and indeed Steve Jobs swore he would get revenge on Google, and this is how he's doing it. You will now have searchability inside your app. So if somebody's searching, if somebody's asking Siri for, hey Siri, give us the latest information. Give us the latest information on the Golden State Warriors. There you go. Right? And that's on iOS 9, by the way. That was my iOS 9 iPad. Guess what it does? Where's it going to get that news information from? Yes, you are absolutely correct, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get it from the news app. Guess where the links are going to go? Yes, you are absolutely correct. the News app. Are you getting this? Can you smell what Apple is cooking? This is why I think everybody needs to understand this new app. It's not something that we should be fearful of. It's something that we should be incredibly excited about and cross our fingers that in the implementation, like I said, it is more notes than compass. We don't know how that's going to work. I'm liking it. I'm not about to say game changer yet because until I see the implementation of it, but hopefully if the strategies that I've outlined here, and of course we'll be all over this in Eddale Live, we'll be all over this in the channel. I'm excited for the challenge. What an opportunity for you to become a curator for a channel, use a blog or use a magcast, hint, I'll come back to that, to curate your niche, to provide that information into the newsstand, to get a following because people will be able to follow publishers, so you'll be able to market the newsstand. You'll actually be able to get revenue. You can sell advertising against it, but that's the low ball game. Who wants to do that? Lead generation. That's what we want to do. We want to get people to download our apps. That's what we want people to do because this news app is not going to provide in-app purchases. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to sell courses through the app like you can in Magcast. You're not going to be able to monetize. You're not going to be able to build lists, all of those sorts of things. And it's good that you can't. That's excellent because we know we can promote our information. And if you become a trusted source, your news is going to show up because Siri is going to look for information and news in the news area that Apple are collecting before it ever goes to Google or Bing or anything else. And that, to me, is the genius of what's going on here. And that's why there are huge, huge, huge implications here. So I would love to get your questions and your feedback so that I can answer them on the channel. I won't do it during this broadcast, but I will go through and answer them. So if you want to leave comments below this video, if you're watching live, I will answer as many questions as I can with the information that we have currently. And of course, you can always tweet me at ed_Dale. I don't have the note to self. Get a tweet graphic. So you can tweet me at ed_Dale. And we need to further this conversation and discuss this. Magcasters, of course, we've got our Magcasters forum inside Eddale Private, which you have access to. So feel free to drop any questions in there as well. But this is an exciting thing. And I hope I've opened your eyes and your minds a bit as to why the death of the newsstand, A, is a great thing. But what Apple are proposing with news and their incredible plan in search, which is genius, it's just sneaky. It's just brilliant. I think we're in for very exciting times. This is going to be a very, very interesting few months. And I hope, particularly because I know there are a lot of Magcasters tuned in, there are a lot of digital publishers tuned in today, I think this is a really awesome opportunity.